Hey, 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 everybody. It's Anthony Sika and all his wild bunch of friends here to review another 90s classic. Hey, Captain Comics. Look at Captain Comics. He must have got a notification and he just jumped on. Anyway, it's 90s classics times again. I don't know how classic this is, but I'm a fan. And I just like 90s action films, whether they're cheesy, whether they're nacho, whatever they are. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Barb Wire. Barb Wire, based on the Dark Horse Comics classic, Bad Girl classic. There it is. My good friend Daryl showing it off, and then a motion picture by Gramercy Studios. Oh, look at the timing! My God, Gramercy Studios picture 1996, Dark Horse Comics featured picture coming off the heels of the success of The Mask. As I said, I think the producers at Dark Horse and Gramercy were really horny dudes, and they're like, let's get any bad girl comic based movie starring the hottest girl at the time in the world, the most well known pair of boobs, Pamela Anderson. And at the time when the movie was released, she was Pamela Anderson Lee. And that's a whole other story. You can check out a movie coming out with Lily James and Sebastian Stan, I believe, coming out on Hulu in the next 6 months. And it's called Pam and Tommy, or maybe it's Tommy and Pam. But anyway, around the time Barbed Wire came out, another VHS classic called Pam and Tommy also came out, which in fact, I guarantee a lot more people saw that movie, and that movie made more money. But before we do anything, I'm going to show you a little clip from Barbed Wire. Going to cue it up right now. It's coming, I promise. This clip is at the very beginning of the film. Enjoy.
What are you doing here?
Looking for a light. Got one.
Smoke.
Tell me that guy doesn't look like Peter Lorre.
Yep. Falls out by spitball.
Who are you? I'm the one who's getting you out of here. Trust me.
Right this way,
Shit. Come on. Go.
mean kid. Skills, come on, yamaging.
What are you doing? Ever seen Batman?
Best line in the whole movie.
Shut up. God damn it.
Immediately misses.
Yeah, this line coming up is epic.
Here's your little pride and joy.
That dress is epic.
Thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
We thought we'd never see our little girl again. Thank you.
Cut the shit. Where's my
Shit.
Honey, pay this woman.
I'm afraid there's been a slight problem. I could only come up with half the money.
half the money? Fine. I'll take half your daughter.
Wait, I'm sure we can negotiate something.
Oh.
I think half your daughter. Wait, what?
On a bad night's work.
Oh, that's awesome.
God damn it.
Dang,
The
man.
melange of accents in this movie is just like epic. Like he starts out with a German accent, and then later on it's kind of like a proper British accent. But then his wife has like a Southern accent. Like they're never quite sure like what everyone's doing, you know. Even later in the movie, like the different accents they're using, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say this though: if I was the guy at the beginning, and a girl looking like that gave me a half a second of time, I'd be making that same face, and I couldn't speak.
Let me tell you something.
I like that the guy thinks something's up.
Never
and
use a
wait
touch
till he comes
screen.
in the room to pull his gun.
Never use a touch screen to run a stream, by the way. Man, oh man.
Yeah, we hung in there. We had fun stuff to talk about.
Close the window and the whole thing collapsed on me. Anyway.
We were just talking about the wide variety of accents used in the movie.
Yes.
That guy starts with a German one, ends with an Old English one, and the wife has like a Southern one. I don't even know.
Yeah, well, you know, let's think about what's going on there. What we have going on in America at the moment of when this takes place, which was in 2017 in a city called Steel Harbor. Steel Harbor is the only free city in the United States that's not under the rule of the congressionals. So you have pretty much the same ruling classes that you have now. You either have really rich people or you have really poor people, no one in between. You know, it's a good societal comment. It's also a good comment on, again, I'm going to bring up prophecy of 90s movies. The idea that 90s movies, a movie can come out, be written by Chuck Farrer and Eileen Chalkin, come up with a screenplay based on a Dark Horse comic. It's the year 2017. A group called the Congressionals, made up of congressmen in the United States, has taken over the United States after the Second Civil War. And the plot pretty much is that Cora D, who is a rebel activist, former scientist who worked with the Congressionals have a plot to poison the United States with a virus similar to HIV that compromises your immune system. What an idea. Something that compromises the immune system. And this contagious virus, Cora D needs to get to Canada to divulge this information, because Canada, even though it's only separated by a border, apparently it's safe in Canada and not in the United States. So it is what it is. But I really do think that when the before the shower stripper pole scene, there's a little in a galaxy far, far away scroll telling you about the Second Civil War and the fact that truly no one in America, other than the folks that live in Steel Harbor for some strange reason, are free. Barb Kapesky is a former infantry soldier who got out of the war after this epic battle in Seattle, which sounds like something from the series Firefly, where the rebel forces, I guess, or the losing forces didn't win. And she then finds her way to Steel Harbor, where she owns a club called the Hammerhead. And she moonlights at night as a bounty hunter, pretty much to pay the payroll, I guess, for her employees, which are a bunch of live bands. And let's be honest, the nightclub scenes in this movie are like the nightclub scenes in The Crow and the nightclub scenes in every other action movie that's ever made in the 90s. Looks like it's the same band, too. They just changed their clothes. It's a nondescript band with a female singer, a couple guys, and some people dancing really poorly. You know, I want to say hello to Captain Comics. He is in the chat as usual. He must be really bored on Tuesday nights, or he must really like us. And I think really
knows how awesome we are.
He really knows the cutting edge. Also, the guy running the stream, the technical prowess that he has switching shared screens is amazing. But in fact, I was off so long, I was going to text you guys and ask you to send me the link so I could get on my own broadcast. Again, this broadcast is not for children. Children shouldn't be watching. They shouldn't be watching boobies. And the truth of the matter is, it's only for kids over 18. Hey, Matt 6. What's up? How you doing tonight, Matt? Matt's a good buddy of mine on the Twitterverse. Really good artist from what I can gather. He's got his own Indiegogo comic that he's putting out. Nice. Matt, I don't know if it's Goblin Girl or whatever, but I know you're working on something. Excuse me if I'm wrong because I look at a million feeds a day. But anyway, Matt's a cool comic friend of mine on the interwebs. Anyway, we're talking about barbed wire. Chilling, he's chilling, man. Yeah, we're three of us here in Florida. One of us is in Virginia, where they have no comic book shops, but they have a lot of disc golf. Anyway, Daniel, also known as Darth. Oh, I'm sorry, Matt 6 Bar. His book is Rock and Roll Ninja. That's from what I've seen on all the YouTube channels, that's like a pretty big book. So thank you for joining us tonight, Matt. If you got some stuff if you'd like ever to get on the podcast, I also promote comics, indie comics, which I also create. I have my own comic called Oh My God, and I'm coming out with Misty America, which, by the way, is pretty much barbed wire with different character. So getting back to the broadcast, Daniel, who is also known as Darth Driscoll. Daniel, why don't you give me about 4 or 5 minute take on barbed wire, if you wouldn't mind?
Well, you brought it up perfectly. Like, we're knee deep in the leather trench coat, choke collar era, right? All the characters in it, and that same apparel and that same look, and the whole gothic nightclub scene. A couple of observations revisiting it. I know we talked about it before, and you guys are going to chuckle. Being younger than the crowd. I don't think I've actually said how old I am, but I was 12 when this movie came out, so I did not see it in its theatrical release. But having seen it since, and then revisiting it for this stream, the parallel in the comics, it was remarkable to me that this movie got made. They adapted this story from Dark Horse Comics before they got to Sin City, and Sin City came first, and obviously was a much greater success. But I'm noticing a theme throughout the late 80s and the early 90s of I don't want to say copycats, that sounds a little bit too harsh, but people kind of running with some themes that Frank Miller had come up with in the comics, and this seems to follow that same suit in the comics and then also in the movies. But they got to it first. Sin City, the movie, didn't get made until the early 2000s. But yeah, a couple other things similar to The Crow. When I was watching it, is it again 1 year after the release of a Batman movie, and when they even got to the "Ever Seen Batman" line, that's why I said it's my favorite in the line, because it's essentially the reverse of a scene in Batman Forever, where he shoots the Gatling gun or the grappling hook up and they ascend. In this case, they shoot it and then descend. But yeah, that same feel, the pyrotechnics. One of the things that I liked about the movie a lot, no green screen, no CGI, no special effects, real explosions, real stunts, that final sequence. I don't want to spoil it, but I think there's a moratorium on a movie this old. But that final sequence with the forklift and the car and the crane and all that, that was actually shot with stunt people. You know, there were no green screens, no CGI there. So you gotta respect the commitment to the craft, and you know, it's what separates. You got to think 3 years later, episode 1 of Star Wars would come out, and that was, you know, some of people's biggest beef was how much computer animation, how much CGI was put into it, and the allure of, you know, the source material of Star Wars was how everything was real, miniatures, special effects were, you know, actually created using stunts and pyrotechnics. And I'm not comparing this movie to Star Wars by any means, but there's a special place in my heart with that kind of commitment to movie making.
And practical effects, talking about what you're doing. Someone's got an echo going. Talk about practical effects too. I mean, let's face it, Dan, you see, it's true that you know, the stunt work on the crane, amazing stuff. Also, let's, you know, I know that at some point during this stream we're going to talk about the lack of acting skills by Pam. However, do keep in mind that she's not writing her own scripts, A, nor writing the scenes, B, storyboards, C, or anything else. However, a commitment, you know, she did do most of her own stunts, rode the motorcycles herself. That Triumph riding, that was all her. She was not on devices either. She rode the motorcycles, and the crane scene, the part that was controlled with the camera going down, that was even her hanging from the crane at some point. Of course, stunt people did the falls and the fighting and stuff. But even the stuff that, you know, the shootout in the apartment when she was pretending to be the hooker or escort with the gentleman with the very terrible ball gag outfit. You know, she did those jumps over, you know, jumping over the table, the fire stuff, the karate. And of course, it's not Van Damme like. But, you know, for someone that just jumps in the water and frolics on the beach all day, they were pretty impressive stunts. And to be honest with you, not to be callous or anything, but when the film production started, she was actually 3 weeks or a month pregnant or something like that. And stupid, instead of stopping production, she decided to keep going and had a miscarriage. Now, of course, she had children after that, which were fine and healthy and all. In fact, they're Hollywood actors themselves right now. But, you know, again, and, you know, did her own stunts, had to walk around in heels and tight 17-inch corsets and things like that, which, again, I think part of the over-the-topness made the movie not get taken as seriously as it maybe should have been. Because, yes, there's a million things wrong with the film, but also with other movie fare that came out that year or other action movies, there's nothing wrong with it at the same time. And it's by the guy that directed Time Cop, which is, you know, a very popular Van Damme movie. And, you know, very adept at action. You know, the action in it, that crane scene, I don't recall seeing anything like that in a movie before, 90s, 80s or not. And I actually haven't seen it since. But the truth of the matter is, motorcycle, you know, she had to learn how to ride a motorcycle. She had to get all that arms training to fire all those weapons. She had Uzis, which, as everybody knows, I love the Uzis. I want to make Uzis great again. And another thing I have to say, compare it to John Wick. I hate to tell you, but the acting chops there, as much as I love Keanu Reeves, wasn't much different than the dialogue in most John Wick movies. You know, minus 1,000 headshots, it's the same thing. Action movies are never going to be, I'm just going to say it, Casablanca. But it is what it is. And I think, you know, an action movie with a female lead should get people in the seats. But again, I think CJ Parker, the Baywatch thing, I think the Tool Time thing, the Playboy thing, I think the Tommy Lee thing, I think a lot of people had weird expectations for the movie. So
I think what you got to keep in mind too is up until that point, they still hadn't cracked the code on how to adapt comic books.
Right.
The first two Batman movies, they were fine, right? But they were Tim Burton movies. They weren't exactly comic book movies. Sure. And then, Batman Forever with Joel Schumacher, we're not there yet. It wasn't really until X-Men did they start figuring out. And Spider-Man, they're like, okay, we're starting to kind of get our groove there. But as far as a comic book on the big screen, that's exactly what it is, right? It's a girl with exaggerated features, a lot of explosions, bullets. I mean, it's a comic book on the big screen.
But can we give some credit in that she was the first comic book screen with a female lead, correct? I mean,
as I can remember,
on the big screen.
On the big screen, of course, yeah. We had Wonder Woman, but really there was no, Catwoman with Halle Berry came out after that, I believe.
I don't even think that's a real movie. Circle.
From had to buy every shape.
Yeah, we're gonna watch a commercial.
Yeah, someone needs to subscribe to YouTube Premium or whatever.
Oh, be quiet.
Tell him, Rashida.
City Custom Cash Card is different. It automatically adjusts, so you can earn cash back where you're
Oh,
spending.
you're getting blocked now. You're
Yeah.
the card.
And she's MacGyver, apparently.
In lingerie.
The most impenetrable coffee table ever. They put 100 bullets through that thing and never touch her.
A feather bed.
Come on, move your ass.
Your ass.
Wow, he broke that by kicking it at the bottom.
This scene is all about trying to look cool.
Yeah. I love
She has this one by the table where she spreads out and she's like, pow, pow. What's that?
I like this guy in the hat throwing the bullets at her.
Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah, this is the scene. This is the one. He has that one cool move. Show us. Come on, bad boy.
The refrigerator and Indiana Jones take a nuclear blast.
That's a nice shot, though.
Here we go. Here we
The
go.
leg off.
Look at that. Look at
There it
that.
is.
Look. Yes.
That's not a comic book splash page. I don't know what is.
Exactly.
Yep.
That's page 20 of my new comic.
But to be fair, she shot through the refrigerator with a Desert Eagle. That probably could shoot through a refrigerator.
I didn't understand that scene. Why did she close the door to shoot him?
She wanted it to be quiet for him.
I just wanted her to say chill.
This was my favorite part because you have a female lead and it's 25 minutes into the movie before you have your first ball strike.
You can have it.
Good. You're my last nail jumper cross. Wake up, sunshine.
Please don't kill me. That was meant to kick it. You really know your stuff, babe.
What did you call me?
How was that gun in that drawer?
She just knew where it was. She knew exactly where it was.
Yeah. The whole time I'm rewatching it, I'm like, there's a ball kick coming. But how long? And I'm just sitting there waiting. I'm like, I know it's coming. I have my notes out. I'm ready. And 25 minutes of the movie, though, I got to give him credit. It was, took less time in Birds of Prey.
All right. So I don't know why the guy was in the fridge, but she closed the door and shot through the door. Why didn't she just shoot the guy and then close the door?
What's the whole? Why would you shoot him if you're throwing him out of a plane?
Well, yeah, okay. And then
you did it first.
But the oh wow, guess what? The stream was suspended for policy violations.
Uh-oh.
Yay!
You did it.
I did it. Wow.
Good show. Good show.
Let's see. Wow. That's awesome, man.
You kept pressing their buttons. You knew it was going to happen.
Wow.
It did make it through the first scene though, which is